So I'm here in Germany and I got to attend Gamescom, which means I finally got to go hands-on with the Xbox ROG Ally X and the Xbox ROG Ally. Now I'm gonna be calling them Ally X and Ally just because it's a lot easier on the tongue. The name is ridiculously long, but the one thing that I took away from this meeting was how good it felt. Like, I think a lot of people, once they get their hands on this thing, is gonna be like, oh, this form factor is so much better than what we're used to right now. Having those Xbox controller grips at the ends of the devices makes a big difference. It just feels so much more comfortable. Like when I picked that thing up, I wasn't hugging it. Like it was a little bit out, it felt more natural. But there are a few things you should know because the Ally X and the Ally are very different internally. They may look the same. Like the Ally is only coming in white. The Ally X is only coming in black. There's not gonna be any extra colors, at least for now. The Ally does have a little bit less inside. So for example, you don't get impulse triggers on the Ally, which means the triggers on the top are not going to vibrate, only on the Ally X. The two Type-C ports are also a little bit different. They're Thunderbolt 4 on the Ally X, but only USB 3.2. That means you can't connect it to an external GPU if you want to increase the performance. You can only do that on the Ally X. The RAM is different, 24 gigabytes versus 16. The processors are different. The Ally is using the Ryzen Z2A, which is 4 cores, 8 threads, and the Z2 Extreme is going to be specific to the Ally X, which is 8 cores, 16 threads. You also get double the GPU cores. Also little tweaks. For example, the micro SD card supports most of the formats on the Ally, but you don't get UHS 1 support, only on the Ally X. And one has 1 terabyte of storage, the other one only has 512 gigabytes. Now, storage is upgradable, so that's something you can increase in the near future. But everything you've seen before in terms of form factor and how it feels hasn't changed since the original hands-on a couple of months ago. Like it's gonna have the Xbox buttons, the exact layout, you're gonna have an extra button, the Xbox button to take you home. The triggers are gonna feel the same, the Joy-Cons are gonna feel, the joysticks are gonna feel the same, speakers in the exact same placement as the original Ally that uses full windows, and the triggers on the back will be there as well. But there are a few new things that they announced. For one, if you connect this to a TV, it's going to be using a new technology, at least with the Ally X, called Auto Super Resolution. So what that means is if you're playing at 1080p on your device and you connect it to a 4K TV, the NPU is going to upscale it so that it looks better on your TV rather than looking super pixelated. The other new announcement is optimized titles. So you're gonna see a badge beside games that have been optimized for the Ally and the Ally X. It's gonna be a green badge, it's gonna say optimized title, and they've been testing over 1,800 games. So there's gonna be a lot out of the gate. Are they gonna do this for other launchers like Steam and Battle.net? Absolutely not. This is very Microsoft specific. You might also see a yellow badge. This will stand for mostly optimized. So some things might not work properly. Maybe they have to tinker the settings a bit more, or maybe some of the buttons don't work on the controller. You have to use a keyboard instead. So again, your mileage may vary. If you're playing a game in Steam or Battle.net, you don't see those badges, it doesn't mean the game is not optimized. It just means Microsoft hasn't tested it, and they probably won't test it since it's not part of their library. But the software felt good. You know, like I played with it for about 30 minutes and you know, it's using a mishmash of a ripped down version of Windows and a little bit of ASUS on top. So you have Armory Crate. Armory Crate is basically just there for a quick settings menu. So you can change the TDP if you want to increase or decrease the power to save battery life or get more performance out of it, increase the contrast, not the contrast, the brightness or whatever, like the stuff you're typically used to on other gaming handhelds. But then Microsoft's layout is very Xbox focused, obviously. It's using a stripped down version of Windows. They got rid of the things that you typically don't need to game on. And it's supposed to make it a lot more efficient, a lot more easier to use. Like one example they were giving is every time you push the power button so that it goes into sleep mode with regular Windows 11 handheld devices, like you know that thing is gonna be dead 2 days later. Well, that's not supposed to happen now with this stripped down version of this Xbox experience. But there is some good news. Like if you connect this to, let's say, a desktop or a monitor rather, and an external GPU, you can bring back the full version of Windows, okay? So like you have the best of both worlds. And yes, other launchers will work with the Xbox experience. I saw it for myself. There was a menu, I saw Steam, I saw Battle.net. You can have them implemented and the games will launch. Now, when you enter the Xbox experience for this device, you're gonna see a couple of things on the main screen. at the top, it's just gonna say just playing, which is basically the games that you've been playing recently. Now this will show any game you've played, even if it's from another launcher. But right below it are gonna be featured titles and titles from Xbox. So you're not gonna see games from other launchers. And that's expected. Like, Microsoft is trying to sell games at the end of the day. They're not gonna advertise for other companies. But I did get to test a few games. And the first one that I actually got to play was Doom. Like, this is pretty graphically intensive, but it felt good. And it looked good too. And like, yeah, there's not a lot of enemies around me right now just because it's really hard to film and play a game at the same time, but I was moving around. It felt super smooth. Every time I attacked an enemy, there was no lag or dropped frames. The second game I tried was Life of P, which would typically give most handhelds a little bit of a struggle just because it's very graphically intensive, and it felt okay. Again, I wasn't killing enemies just because I didn't know where to go, but I was running around the room and there was no drop frames or lag. The other game I tested was Gears of War, and obviously this is an Xbox specific game, so yeah, it's gonna run fine. Like, they obviously took their time to optimize this title, but it felt good, you know? And the fact that Asus put the speakers on the front of the device, the sound is just hitting you, it just felt a lot more immersive compared to other devices that put the speakers at the bottom. But there's one new piece of technology that they announced that I feel like a lot more people should be talking about, and that's shaders. I know, not the most fun topic to talk about, but they're going to be loading shaders in the background. Usually when you load up a game, let's say Fortnite, for example, or Call of Duty Warzone, and you just updated your GPU, you gotta wait for the shaders to load, and if you don't, the game runs very poorly. So what they're doing now is they're gonna be downloading the shaders in the background after you download the game so that it's ready when you play it. This is gonna make loading times so much faster. My big question though is that why aren't the entire industry doing this, regardless of what device you're using? Like, shaders are annoying. Like, why not have them download in the background on your PC or your PlayStation or other devices that currently exist right now? But look, I walked away from this hands-on demo feeling pretty confident. I'm really curious to see what the total package will feel like when it's coming out on October 16th. I think the Ally X is the right move. I know the other one's more affordable, but look, you can connect this and use it as a computer. You just have a lot more RAM, you have more performance. It's more future-proofed. I feel like if you're gonna buy this thing, maybe you wanna save up, but obviously wait for the full reviews to hit first to see if all the expectations have been met. And I'm gonna be reviewing it, so make sure to subscribe, like the video so you don't miss it. And if you have any questions, I'll try to answer as many of them as I can. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.